The pituitary produces luteinizing hormone, LH, and follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH. These are the hormones that tell your balls to start producing testosterone and sperm. Damage to the pituitary can permanently kill off testosterone production. If you're doing boxing, try to avoid hard sparring where you're taking knocks to the head, unless you're purposely building up to a fight, in which case, of course, all bets are off. You can do everything right, but if your pituitary is getting rocked, it's game over. However, there's many jobs that involve a lot of shocks to the head. If you operate a jackhammer for your job, that's a lot of vibration traveling up to your brain pan. Another example is if you're in the military and operate heavy weapons like the 50 cal, or worse, the shoulder-mounted weapons like the Gustav. We know that this is terrible for the brain. If you're in construction, military, or martial arts, neck training is a non-negotiable along with good hearing protection. If you're overweight, you need to reverse this. You need to get to a sustainable 15% body fat. So what does 15% body fat look like? It just means that you can see your abs if you flex and have good lighting. It's not even that hard to get, except that it is. It is hard to get if you're already overweight because you're working against a powerful feedback loop. So let me explain. If you already have a bunch of fat tissue on your body, this fat tissue is producing aromatase. Aromatase converts testosterone to estrogen. Here's the kicker. More estrogen causes you to store more fat and therefore create more aromatase. So you're in this vicious cycle that's keeping you fat. That being said, you can also create a virtuous cycle to combat this. Hormone-optimized training will lead to muscle growth, and this new muscle will act as a glucose reservoir. Why is this important? It's important because this will dampen the insulin spikes. And if the insulin spikes are dampened, then the food cravings will reduce, overall calorie intake will reduce. Yes, it is true that most people who go through a weight loss or fat loss program regain the fat and actually exceed the baseline, get even fatter. However, that's because most fat loss programs do not have a fundamental understanding of the underlying biology and the hormone engine. Don't drink beer or smoke weed. If you want to drink wine like the ancients did. Modern beer is fake and gay. If you're going to smoke, don't smoke weed, smoke tobacco like a man. At least the nicotine is going to make you sharp and alert. Great industries and empires have been built on wine and tobacco. Nothing has been built from beer and weed. Now, how much do you drink? Personally, I don't go more than 2 to 3 glasses of wine per week, and that's only on social occasions. You can absolutely have fun in a social setting without alcohol. Don't ever feel that you are obligated to partake because other people around you are drinking. In fact, the ability to reject peer pressure is a sign of a strong man. Don't be afraid to ask for non-toxic options. If you go to Starbucks and you ask them to use a mug like an actual ceramic mug, they will. It's just a matter of asking. In fact, this is something you need to practice. At sit-down restaurants, you can ask them to prepare your food in butter rather than oil. Now, don't say seed oils because they probably don't know what that means. Just ask to have your food prepared in butter. This will be socially awkward or socially challenging if you haven't done this before, but you need to get used to having your way. I want you to behave in such a way that you expect the best service. Ask for the non-toxic options. Let the normies eat the slop. You could instead insist on preserving your health. Be that guy. Be the leader. Teach your body that you are that guy, and soon you will be.